What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you stopping by, spending a few minutes of your time with me today. Today I just wanted to go over with you a little bit about what I shared in my last video called Hidden Knowledge Part 2. I want to explain to you a little bit more about my perspective here, because I feel like together we're breaking the ice on a whole new school of thought together. If you stick with me on my channel from this point on, the videos are going to be transforming and perhaps transformative for many people. All right. Now, when I make these videos called Hidden Knowledge, you can see if you watch those videos that I mean something very different by the terminology hidden. Okay, a lot of people believe that knowledge is power, and that because of this, there are certain people that have sort of sworn certain knowledge to secrecy. They don't share this with everybody. So there is some sort of knowledge that is hidden from you. This is the thought process of this type of individual. This was me for a long time. For a long time, I thought that there was knowledge that some nefarious group somewhere had been hiding from the world, right? But in a way, if we're being honest, this is still an externalization of power, believing that there is some knowledge out there that is hidden from you, that if you could find it, it would complete you or give you something great. And this is an illusion. This too is the appearance of knowledge. That's what a lot of people are after. If they say they're looking for knowledge, you have to know that really what they're after is the appearance of knowledge. They just want to look like they know a lot, right? But there's nothing really hidden from anyone. And this is a thought that came to me through my nightly meditations and journaling, okay? And the thought is like this: there is nothing hidden from man besides the things in which he refuses to see. The only unknowns for a man are the things he refuses to acknowledge, and the only secrets kept from him are the things he refuses to face. The thing that you're really afraid of, the thing that I was really afraid of, was to stop externalizing my power, to really internalize my power, to quit projecting in a way and start reflecting something of a higher nature. Okay? Because reflection is of a higher nature than projecting. Projecting, often when we project, we're projecting our shadow out into the world. Right? Now, what I was talking about in my last video was that I was basically talking about the archetype of a king. And that's what I mean when we're breaking into a certain new branch of thought, these archetypes, right? And this is the one I'm describing to you now, a king. And I told you in that video that a king is subject to the gods alone. And I told you that all of the gods, all of the immortals live in heaven. And then I told you from my point of view, heaven is the highest realm of the human intellect and experience, only accessible via the imagination. And many people would be quite offended at me saying this. They would feel like I'm saying heaven is a figment of your imagination, or God or the gods are a figment of your imagination. But that's not what I'm saying at all. If that's what you believe I'm saying, then you greatly underestimate the power of imagination. To me, it's quite possible that imagination is the dark substance of our reality that truly holds our reality together. And many people, when they think of imagination, imagine something quite similar to child's play. But when I say imagination, I mean something similar to the power of God. I mean a source that can open you up to all knowledge through allegory. Allegory is the closest thing, in my opinion, that you can get to truth in this reality. Now, when I say a king is ruled by the gods and the gods are in heaven, what I'm talking about essentially is our human emotions. But our emotions are physical phenomena, right? They're caused by certain releases of chemicals or hormones in the body in response to environmental stimuli. That's what your emotions are. Your emotions are the appearance of something in the world, this phenomena. Okay? And it's a very misunderstood phenomena. But the appearance of emotions, that's not what emotions are. There is a source from which emotion emanates. And that's what I'm trying to hint at. That a king is someone who recognizes that source inside of himself and rules over that. And everyone has this capability, but not everyone, would be considered a king. Maybe you don't want to be a king. Maybe a king means something to you. You don't want to be a king, but this is the way I express it. Okay? So a king is someone who sees beyond the appearance of his emotions and recognizes this divine source of his emotions. Your emotions are like very similar to your intuition. Your emotions are there to guide you. Your emotions care about you. They only want what's best for you in every single way. The emotional responses that are issued from your body are the result of the extremely complicated structure of your DNA, your genetics, right? And if you have some sort of faith in things that are unseen, the Bible says that God knit you together in your womb, that this very intelligent, creative source that we identify as God knit together your genetics in a very specific way so that your emotions act as a perfect guide to allow you to reach your full potential and your destiny and to live out your purpose. If only you would follow your emotions and not allow your emotions to be touched by other people, right? By not allowing the world to emotionally engineer you and tell you how you should respond to every situation, right? Or the right way to talk. The world always wants to censor not just what you say, but the world wants to censor your emotions. Okay? And people, like I said, people misunderstand their emotions. They think that their emotions are there to cause them confusion, to cause them stress, to cause them hurt. But that's not what our emotions are for at all. But if your emotions on one side are like your guardian angel, your spirit guides, your God or your gods, if this is what your emotions are evidence of or effects of, right? If you ignore these emotions, the harder you fight against these emotions, the more you ignore them, the more they transform from an angel to a demon, from a god into a devil that becomes your constant tormentor. You can attempt to ignore your emotions, but they will torment you. And to the point where you basically turn off your emotions, your sense of empathy for yourself and for others, essentially become spiritually and emotionally dead and must be born again through spiritual means. You see, which is what happened to me. But your emotions are a great, great force in our lives. Either way, when you understand them and you decide to rule with them as your wise counsel by your side, or you decide to fight against them and make your emotions your enemy, either way, your emotions are a great, great force in your life. You see, and a king holds himself to his own emotional state. He rules over his own emotional state because he has faith that the gods are acting through him, right? That the gods, every emotion is attempting to show you something, to guide you in some way, shape, or form. And life becomes completely magical to a person that begins to live like this, right? My life is completely magical. I had a conversation with a coworker at work the other day, and it was very enlightening, very eye-opening, because sometimes I struggle to put ideas into words. My ideas really don't fit in this reality, so I have a hard time finding words. But I often find the words through other people or through like books that I'm reading, information that I'm learning about will somehow lead me or guide me to some sort of deeper or higher understanding or insight regarding the personal questions I'm asking about life. So I had this conversation with my coworker, and he's actually a computer coder, right? He's into software engineering. He writes code. And he works for different companies, and each company, each customer has specific needs, what they need out of this program, which will determine the type of code that he's writing. But to learn how to write computer code or to read computer code is like learning a foreign language. And indeed, my coworker told me that in high school nowadays, they offer computer code as a foreign language. Huh? Isn't that amazing? To me, that's some magnificent stuff. And so I asked him about this, like, yeah, it's like reading or learning a whole new language, isn't it? He said, yes, yes. I said, sometimes when you're at home, you could probably, code little things on your own, right? And experiment with coding on your own, right? He was like, yeah, for sure. I could do things like code like my garage door. I could make a program to control my garage door, my sprinkler system. I could do all sorts of things like that. And I was like, okay, cool. So coding, it seems to be, the way you're describing, is a very intuitive process. And he was like, yeah, you could say that. And I was like, now tell me this. Would you say that sometimes when you're writing a code, when you're working for a new client and they have something specific in mind that you've never done before, and you have to write the code, has there ever been a time when you've been like really in the zone and it was almost like the code was revealing itself to you in the process to let you know which direction you're going, as if there was some higher intelligence there revealing this to you? He was like, you know what, now that you put it into words like that, yeah, I can definitely see that. Definitely, it's like that, right? And that's how my life is when I have these questions concerning things like, what does it mean to be a king? What makes a king a king? I am led by life itself in some strange and mysterious way to certain information through books that I'm reading, through things I see on the TV, through like maybe a video will pop up on YouTube, all sorts of things, but I'm able to grab these little bits of information from random, seemingly random sources, and it's like there is some higher force that is revealing things to me emotionally that resonate with me. And that's the glory of a king. The glory of a king is to be to answer only to these, only to the gods who are in heaven. You see? So I just wanted to sort of elaborate in more detail what I meant by that video. This is like, more personal, like as if we were going to sit down and talk about this. So I've been finding this extremely helpful in my own life because I've just been identifying with this higher principle within myself that I can only describe by using the word divine. Okay? And it's also helped me to recognize this principle in other people. Everyone that I come in contact with, I know that they too have this source within them. You know what I mean? But what it feels like sometimes is that you're a king, but perhaps you left your home on this long journey to, find some great treasure or bring back some great fortune for the glory of your house, right? But along the way, the sea really tossed your ship. You find yourself shipwrecked, deserted in a foreign land with foreign people and foreign customs. But being a king, knowing that you have such a vast kingdom, such a great amount of wealth back home, unfortunately right now it's inaccessible to you, but you are still a king because you possess a royal mind, right? And you will conduct yourself as such, as a king. You will not allow yourself to become stressed out, worried, and stoop to, say, the level of a thief to obtain your goods. Now that you're in this foreign place, you will respect the customs of the land and still respect your own customs, still hold yourself in high esteem, still have self-respect and dignity for your own customs and for your own divinity. You see? But anyway, yeah, I appreciate you guys stopping by, spending a few minutes of your time with me again today. Until next time, I hope you continue to free your mind.